Miraculous prophecy. Jesus confirms divine manifestations for Christians after 7 sacred years. The village of Maplewood awoke one crisp morning to an extraordinary revelation that would ignite their hearts, a prophecy from heaven itself. It came to William, their devoted church leader, whispered under the sprawling branches of the ancient oak tree, a sacred place of strength. Here, he had knelt, desperation bubbling over as illness had crept in, stealing joy and hope from the once thriving community. But beneath that oak, a brilliant light shone, vibrant and pure, glowing like the dawn breaking through the darkness. Suddenly, a figure emerged, shimmering with an otherworldly aura. William's heart raced as he listened intently. "Fear not, my child," the figure spoke, its voice echoing like sweet music in the stillness. "Your faith has been heard. Miracles shall unfold, healing the lost and the broken." The words of divine power resonated deep within him. In that moment, William knew hope would return to Maplewood. As the rumors of this sacred vision spread through the village, excitement danced in the air, but so did skepticism. Conversations buzzed from door to door, igniting flames of doubt among some. "Can it truly be?" they whispered, eyes wide with either wonder or suspicion. Others, however, clung to the promise of divine intervention as tightly as a mother holds a child. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let us continue. Driven by faith, William sought to bridge the growing divide. He visited homes, sat with the brokenhearted, and prayed fervently for the sick, invoking St. Jude's intercession for every lost cause. With each prayer, small wonders began to unfold. Plants sprouted where once was drought, the baby lambs that fell ill sprang back to life, and even a hummed prayer turned the air sweet with warmth. Yet skepticism still lingered like a stubborn fog. Then came the night of the community prayer. Villagers filled the church, their faces illuminated by flickering candles mirroring the glow of their growing faith. William led them, heart pounding like a drum, beseeching heaven for healing. As they joined voices, the air thickened with anticipation. It was as if time itself held its breath. All at once a sound. A miracle! One by one, people who had been bedridden rose to their feet, each transformation a testament to divine grace. Gasps of awe filled the air as the church brimmed with laughter and shouts of praise, echoing the joy of a community reborn. The oak tree stood sentinel outside, silently witnessing the wondrous scene, rooted in a promise as yet unfulfilled. But within William's heart, a question loomed: was this merely the beginning? With each transformed soul, a flicker of doubt unfurled its wings. Could faith withstand future trials? The village now stood at a precipice, teetering between wonder and uncertainty, while the ancient oak waited, whispering secrets of the sacred, heralding more divine mysteries yet to come. What lay ahead would either solidify their belief or plunge them back into despair. The air was thick with possibility, as Maplewood braced for its next chapter, a sacred journey yet to unfold. The dawn broke over Maplewood with a brilliance that seemed to echo the very miracles unfolding within. People, transformed by their newfound faith, began to take strolls together, laughing, sharing stories, and basking in the warmth of community. The church, once a place of quiet reflection, buzzed with life. Every corner hummed with praises, and hearts swelled with joy. William felt a renewed sense of purpose. The villagers revered him more than ever, looking to him for guidance as they began to explore their belief in ways they had never considered. One Sunday, he stood in front of the congregation, eyes scanning the hopeful faces. Each one seemed to carry a spark, an ember of faith waiting to be fanned into flame. "Today is not merely a celebration of miracles," William began, his voice rich with emotion. "It is a declaration that we are more than spectators. We are participants in this divine story. Let us open our hearts wider and share this love beyond our boundaries." The applause was thunderous. Encouraged, William decided to organize a festival of gratitude, a day where villagers could come together to not only celebrate the miracles but to give back, to extend their love to neighboring villages struggling silently. He could see the excitement in their eyes and was filled with a warm sense of divine assurance. As the festival day approached, whispers of hope reached other communities. News spread of the extraordinary events that unfolded beneath the great oak, drawing both seekers and skeptics alike. People journeyed from afar, some carrying family members burdened with sickness, others merely seeking a glimpse of the vibrant faith alive in Maplewood. But as the crowd grew, so did the tension. A faction emerged among the attendees, those hesitant to accept what had transpired. "What if it was all a trick?" they murmured. "What if hope was merely illusory?" Their doubts took root like weeds among flowers, threatening the unity that had blossomed. The festival began bright and beautiful, laughter echoing off the trees, wondrous displays of faith and gratitude in every corner. There were games for the children, music and singing that flowed like a river of joy. Yet, beneath the surface, not all was harmonious. William stood before the assembly, sensing the spiritual undercurrent trembling in the air. "We are here to celebrate love, to celebrate miracles," he proclaimed, voice steady yet heartfelt. "But let us not forget that faith is not without its trials. Each of you has faced the tempest of doubt, and yet you stand here. Let us remember the ancient truth: faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains." As the words lingered in the air, a hush fell over the gathering. Many hearts stirred, others wrestled with their reservations. Suddenly, a woman stepped forward, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I have lost everything. My hope was shattered, but I stand here today, no longer merely alive, but transformed. I wish to share my story." She spoke of struggles that echoed through the crowd, her vulnerability strengthening bonds that doubt had tried to sever. As her story unfolded, others began to step forward, sharing their testimonies of despair turned to hope, revealing the power of faith shattering chains that bound their hearts. William watched, tears filling his eyes, each story knitting the community closer together in an unbreakable tapestry. There was power in shared experience, a divine thread woven through every word. Yet, in the midst of joy, William felt a stirring in his spirit, a quiet voice cautioning him. Could the fragility of faith withstand the weight of skepticism? Would these miraculous moments hold, or would shadows of doubt once again creep in? The oak tree, steadfast and strong, stood as a sentinel against the winds of uncertainty whispering through the leaves, hinting at challenges yet to come and mysteries still hidden. As the sun sank low on the horizon, radiating a golden glow that enveloped Maplewood in warmth and promise, William sensed the village was on the edge of something monumental. Something that would test their faith in ways they never anticipated. What would come next, he wondered, and would they be ready? The stage was set. The air was thick with an unknowable tension and impending revelation awaited. It was only the beginning. A trial of faith was on the horizon, and the answers they sought might just shake the very foundations of their beliefs. Would they rise together, or would doubt tear them apart? The answer lay just beyond the dusk. The evening air hung heavy with anticipation as twilight draped Maplewood in a shimmering veil. Sweet scents of roasted corn and freshly baked bread danced along with the laughter of children, mingling with the soulful strains of music rising into the heavens. Yet, amidst the joy, a lingering unease could be felt, a thin thread of skepticism weaving through the tapestry of hope. William, his spirit stirred yet resolute, watched the villagers moving about in harmony. It was a heartening sight, truly. Young couples, hand in hand, shared whispers and smiles as they engaged in games, while older folk exchanged stories, their eyes twinkling with warmth. Yet, all the beauty did not erase the faint echo of doubts lurking in the shadows. As the night deepened, more spectators gathered under the old oak, forming a sea of faces illuminated by the soft glow of lanterns. When the last rays of light slipped away, William stepped forward, his heart beating with the weight of his call. The quiet he commanded cloaked the gathering, drawing every ear and heart towards him. "I stand here today, not as a beacon of perfection," he began, his voice steady but humble. "I stand here as a fellow believer, a man who has faced struggles like many of you. Faith is a journey, one filled with peaks and valleys, storms and sunshine. But it is in those valleys where we truly discover who we are. A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd, but he sensed the presence of uncertainty still hovering at the edges. The whisperings of doubt rumbled softly. What if this is a passing fancy? What if the miracles fade, like morning mist? He raised his voice, inviting those thoughts into the light. But today, I encourage you to dream bigger, to believe wider. For the God we serve revels in the impossible. With each word, a sense of warmth enveloped him, as if the very spirit of the place breathed through him. A young man stood up, visibly shaken yet determined. I want to share my fear, he said, the words trembling slightly. I worry that this love we speak so dearly about might leave us, can leave us as quickly as it came. William's heart recognized the pain beneath those words. Friend, it is okay to fear. It is okay to question. But let us remember the greatest miracles often bloom from seeds sown in the soil of doubt. You are not alone, we stand beside you. His assurance invited others to share, stories blossoming like wildflowers in spring. Accounts of struggle, of joy rediscovered, of battles fought, and one played out like a symphony of faith. And with every shared experience, an inexplicable unity began to lace through the crowd. Tears of sorrow mingled with laughter of joy, whispers of uncertainty transformed into shouts of praise. Yet, as lights twinkled in the trees and hope swirled in the air, William could not shake the sense of urgency in his heart. The evening's sweet harmony was a beautiful mask hiding something else, something deeper. Did the villagers truly understand the weight of faith they were being called to carry? Were they prepared to face what lay ahead, beyond the warmth of this festival? An ember sparked within him, urging him to prepare not just for joy, but for trials that might arise, storms that would come. A sudden hush fell over the people as a chilling breeze enveloped them, sending shivers through the assembly. A piercing glance upward revealed the stars had shifted, casting an unusual light upon them. There was a sense of divine movement, something was afoot, and suddenly the air pulsed with potential. William felt it a moment of clarity, a whisper from the divine. Could it be that these signs foretold a deeper revelation, a divine prophecy waiting to unfold? Would the strength of their community pass this coming trial? He barely dared to breathe, aware that answers were waiting in the darkness. With anticipation thrumming in his heart, he raised his hands, his voice cutting through the stillness. Let us ready ourselves, brothers and sisters. For what unfolds tonight could very well reshape our faith journey. And just like that, the festival became more than a celebration. It morphed into a confluence of lives waiting to intertwine amidst the divine calling awaiting them. What awaited them as the night deepened? Would they emerge stronger, or would doubt's shadow snuff out their light? The answer loomed, beckoning in the shadows, an invitation for them all to step into the unknown. The wind whispered secrets among the leaves, a gentle reminder of the unknown paths their hearts might soon tread. As William scanned the crowd, he felt an energy shift, a raised pulse surging through each member of the assembly beneath the ancient oak. Hope intertwined with trepidation, a sacred dance of belief and fear. Children clutched their parents tightly, eyes wide with a mix of awe and anxiety. The older folk leaned closer together, murmuring heated discussions about the signs, while the younger ones looked to William, waiting for clarity to pierce the veil of uncertainty. He knew he had to guide them through this pivotal moment. Brothers and sisters, he called out, his voice now imbued with urgency, beyond our joys tonight, the laughter, the music, lies a call to deeper faith. Sometimes, when God stirs the atmosphere, it's an invitation to prepare for a testing of our spirits. The weight of his words hung between them, and each individual held their breath, absorbing the gravity of his message. Were they ready to stand firm when the storms arose? William felt the Spirit urge him to press deeper, to lead them towards understanding. In Scripture, storms were not merely obstacles but opportunities for awakening. Remember when the disciples faced the raging sea? And Jesus stood on the waves with them, declaring peace. Be still. His voice rose fervently as he recounted the story. Even now, amidst our festive gathering, a call resonates, parting the waters of doubt. A low murmur coursed through the crowd. Eyes met, reflecting a mixture of fear and resolve. In that moment, the reality of potential trials loomed large. Doubt hung heavy, yet a flickering light began to shine in belief's embrace. As the flickering lanterns danced above them, William saw something shift, a collective hunger for the truth. Let us not forget the power of our communion. In our vulnerability, we find strength. When we come together, sharing burdens and lifting each other up, divinity breathes among us. Excitement ignited, and hands reached out. People clasped them with fervor, acknowledging an unspoken bond forming. Voices rose in praise, intertwining in a song of reliance, a medley of gratitude wrapped in expectation. And as they clung together, the atmosphere pulsed with electricity, a divine resonance vibrating just beneath the surface. But even as he spoke of miracles, doubts lingered on the periphery. William could feel their weight, thick and heavy. Though the festival swirled with celebration, the undercurrent of uncertainty remained. Could love endure in the face of despair? Could they truly face what might come with unshakable faith? In the heart of that crescendo, a figure emerged. An elder, weary but wise, stepped forward. "William," she called gently, her voice a tender balm, "what if our faith falters? What if we find ourselves lost in the depths?" A thoughtful silence enveloped the gathering, and William reflected on her question, the weight of it resonating across the assembly. "Loss is a part of the journey," he began, allowing the words to settle. "But in those moments of trials, we can call upon the very essence of our faith. We are never left alone." Suddenly, the stars overhead twinkled fiercely, as if affirming his words, bathing the crowd in a celestial glow. William raised his eyes, feeling the hand of the divine beckoning him toward greater revelations. Tonight is not just an end but a gateway. We stand on the brink of something incredible. Are you ready to dive deeper into the sea of faith? To embrace every truth and build our community stronger? The fervor in his heart clamored for release, anticipation bubbling to the surface as their spirits surged. As the crowd erupted in a resounding amen, an affectionate camaraderie surged, a blend of joy and earnestness pulsing through the air. Yet, just then, amid this jubilant energy, a blinding light exploded overhead, silencing the crowd instantly. Gasps filled the night air, and a shadow flickered across the moon, casting an unsettling chill over the festival. What was this? A revelation? A call to attention? A divine message waiting to be unveiled? The moment of clarity hovered tantalizingly close, and William found his breath caught within him, yearning to understand what would unfold next, what awaited them beyond the shimmering light. And what truths would be revealed when fear and faith collided in a magnificent confrontation. The light pulsed, brighter than any lantern, transforming the night into a canvas of divine brilliance. The crowd gasped as silhouettes flickered in the rippling glow, their forms shimmering like cloaks of presence in that ethereal brightness. William's heart raced, sensing a profound shift in the atmosphere. This was no mere light. It was a divine intervention, a shaking of the very fabric of their reality. "Brothers and sisters," he cried, his voice reverberating with urgency, "open your hearts. Something miraculous is unfolding." People gathered closer, forming a circle, hands clasped together in collective hope. The elder's worried face turned upward, her eyes reflecting the flickering light. Others followed her gaze, faces lit with wonder, their breaths coming in quickened whispers. As if responding to William's plea, the light danced, creating shapes that momentarily formed into familiar figures. There, in the brilliance, stood the faint outline of a shepherd, the silhouette of a beloved friend. The crowd's murmurs swelled to a crescendo of awe, curiosity peaked as the figure began to take form, revealing a sense of timelessness that enveloped them. "See! It is not just light, it is a message!" someone shouted, tearing through the silence. "It's a sign of his presence." Outside the circle, children tugged at their parents' sleeves, unable to contain their excitement, their innocence alive with wonder. The elder nodded knowingly, her worry easing into reverence. "Remember his words," William urged, looking deep into the eyes of his community. "Where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, there I am in the midst of them." This is our moment. Let our faith rise as one. The air vibrated with palpable anticipation, the sweet scent of ripening earth mingling with the hope that filled their hearts. With every heartbeat, the leading of the Spirit grew stronger, urging them to unearth deeper truths cloaked within the divine light. From the center, the bright figure grew clearer, a gentle face framed by flowing locks and outstretched arms. William's heart swelled with recognition. Was it not the very embodiment of love? "Fear not, beloveds," a voice echoed softly yet powerfully, undulating in waves that washed over the crowd. "For what lies ahead, though cloaked in mystery, shall be revealed to those who stand firm in faith." Every ear strained to catch the divine message, and a hush fell. The emphasis on faith shone as a beacon, igniting fresh resolve in their weary hearts. William felt the Spirit swirling again, intertwining with their fears, transforming doubt into a call for courageous action. An invitation hung in the air, a gentle urging to step into the unknown. Embrace the trials ahead, for within their depths lie blessings that will birth transformation. The voice continued, resonating as if carried on the wind itself. "A promise awaits," William shouted, galvanizing the assembly, his excitement palpable. "A new season is dawning. Are you ready to welcome it, despite the fear of the unknown? Shall we embrace this path, hand in hand?" With fervor, hands shot up in affirmation, voices eagerly echoing a collective yes. Their spirits buoyed by the divine message, they found an incredible unity in their faith. But even amidst the light, doubt remained. Shadows lurked at the periphery, asking if they genuinely had enough faith to stand firm in trials yet unseen. As discomfort twisted in William's belly, he wondered, could they endure the challenge ahead, or would the weight of the unknown drag them down? Then, suddenly, the light surged brighter still, enveloping everyone in warmth. A single ray broke away and swept across the crowd, igniting fireworks of brilliance in their souls. "Hold on to hope," the voice rang out again, filled with compassion that resonated in every heart. "You are never abandoned. Prepare for wonders that will astonish." As the light began to dim, reality set back and questions brewing anew. What would these wonders look like? Would they truly stand together amidst the storms ahead? And what gifts might spring from the depths of their trials? In the tender quiet that followed, William felt a stirring within, a request for action. What were they to do now? Would they delve deeper, pushing against the waves of fear to unlock the mystery of hope waiting just beyond the horizon? The dawn beckoned, and William stood ready, heart pounding with anticipation. What awaited them on the other side of faith? As the dawn's first light crept into the sky, the air was thick with both trepidation and excitement. The community lingered in the glow of that divine encounter, hearts still aglow with the words that had echoed through their very souls. William looked at the faces around him. Those eager, expectant expressions reflected a deep hunger for a deeper encounter with God. "Let us not stand idle, brothers and sisters," he urged, stepping forward to address the assembly. "This is our call to action." He could feel the weight of the world pressing down on their shoulders. Doubts whispered like tempting shadows, yet the fire ignited within him pushed against that heaviness. "We must prepare our hearts and our spirits. Let us venture where He is leading us, regardless of how it feels." The elder stepped forward, her eyes shimmering with unshed tears. "Ah, William, the Spirit has stirred something in me." She held out her hands, and they mirrored the outstretched arms of the figure they had seen. "I feel it too, a fervent calling to unite, and to share that love we have received." A murmur of agreement rippled through the crowd. Individuals began to share their stories, testimonies wrought from their own struggles and battles. A woman spoke of how she had faced her debilitating fears, breaking free from the chains that had held her captive for so long. Another shared a miraculous healing she had experienced the previous summer, when faith met genuine desperation. Each voice rising up felt like fresh embers added to a raging fire. The Spirit surged through their words, and should a passerby wander into the gathering, they might feel the very fabric of heaven wrapping around them, an unspoken language of unity and hope. "Listen closely," William called out, sensing the Spirit asking for deeper surrender. "We must be vigilant in prayer, and in seeking His face. Only then can we fully embrace the wonders waiting for us." Gripped with passion, he encouraged them to set aside time for prayer, for compassionate outreach to their community, to bless those who had yet to understand the light. "We must intertwine our lives with those around us, Let our actions speak of His love." A chorus of amens floated in the air. The power of agreement surged as they began to clasp hands once more, forming an unbreakable bond, each heart tethered to another. In that moment they knew they were not merely a group, they were a family bound by purpose. Yet as their resolve strengthened, William sensed a shift deep within him. A question stirred in his heart, a voice whispering of hesitation. "Will I lead them well?" he pondered. A wave of concern washed over him, raising doubts about his own capabilities. Could he guide them through the trials that awaited? What might it cost them all? But the divine light had returned, softly illuminating the edges of his fear. A thought came like a gentle wave upon the shore: faith does not mean the absence of fear, but choosing to step forward despite it. Bracing himself against the uncertainty, William raised his voice once more. "Together, we walk toward the unfolding of God's promise. Who will accompany me into the unknown?" With hearts aflame, their voices rose in solidarity, affirming their intent to follow boldly. Yet, in the depths of their enthusiasm, what trials lay ahead? Would their faith shine brightly enough to guide them through the darkness? As the sun rose higher, casting golden rays across their gathering, they stood on the cusp of transformation, ready to testify to the love they had embraced. What wonders awaited them in the days to come? Each breath laden with promise, William felt that the true journey was just beginning. What awaited them as they propelled themselves deeper into the heart of faith? As morning unfolded and warmth enveloped them, a palpable energy filled the air, a sense of something great thrumming just beyond their reach. William looked into the eyes of his fellow believers, and he saw not just eagerness, but a fierce determination. "It's time," he declared. "We must bring this light we have received to others." One by one, the community began to share their visions, dreams, and whispered hopes for a brighter tomorrow. A young man named Thomas stood, his hands shaking yet filled with passion. "I see us reaching out, feeding the hungry, healing the sick. What if we took our prayers into the streets?" His voice trembled, but the conviction spun a thread of resolve through the crowd. "Amen," an elder woman echoed, her voice rich with nostalgia. "I remember when we used to gather in our neighborhoods, singing hymns until the stars blinked awake." The community reminisced, the air warm with laughter and remembrance. They exchanged glances, each a silent vow to rediscover that spirit of old. But just beneath that fervor, a quieter voice nudged at William, a caution that perhaps they weren't prepared for all that was to come. Difficulties awaited, trials would arise that could test the fabric of their unity. "Together we can do this, but we must brace ourselves for the weight of our calling," he continued, acknowledging his swirling doubts. "Every act of love brings with it a chance for our faith to be challenged." The energy shifted slightly, some faces clouded with uncertainty. Yet, in that moment of hesitation, a gentle gust swept through the gathering, as if the Spirit was reminding them of the purpose that bound them. "Let faith rise," William called, his voice buoyed by the growing strength of their collective hope. As the sun transcended the ridge of the hills, an unexpected miracle unfolded before their very eyes. A flock of doves soared overhead, glistening against the gold of the morning sky, filling the air with fluttering wings and a melodic cooing. The sight struck them like thunder, igniting a renewed fire within their hearts. "Look!" a child shouted joyfully, pointing upward. "They are sending our prayer to heaven." A ripple of laughter echoed through the group, mingling with cheer as they marveled at the butterflies of heaven providing reassurance. In that moment, doubts began to ebb like the tide receding from the shore. "God delights in our faith. He will not leave us to walk alone," William proclaimed, the energy surging as they joined hands once more. "We need to step into this." Decision followed, plans began to take shape. They spoke of organizing sessions to prepare food for the needy, of setting days to visit those in hospitals, of welcoming strangers with open arms. As details solidified, William felt the surge of hope swell within him, pushing away the shadows of fear that still whispered ominously. Yet in the midst of their exhilaration, a bittersweet undercurrent hummed. "What if our boldness brings out resistance?" he thought, heart racing. "Some may not welcome our love," but as he looked around, he realized that love could never fail. It was then that a deep clarity washed over William, grounding him in the assurance that every step taken in faith was a seed sown in the divine garden. The community agreed to meet later that week to finalize their plans, and as they began to disperse, hope hovered in the air like morning mist, teasing the promise of something real and transformative. "Tomorrow we conquer," one declared, enthusiasm infectious. Yet loomed beneath their joy was the question: would they maintain that radiant hope when faced with challenges? With hearts now tenderized by purpose and resolve, they walked away, fully aware that the adventure was poised to teach them more than they could comprehend. What lessons awaited them as they stepped daringly into their mission? Would they find strength in adversity, or would doubt creep in, threatening to extinguish the light? A hush fell over the village as the last rays of sun dipped below the horizon, leaving behind a tapestry of twilight. William stood alone for a moment, taking in the quietness that replaced the fervor of the gathering. Shadows stretched along the path, dancing gently to the whispers of evening winds. He remembered each person as dreams shared just hours ago, each hope like a flicker of light against the impending darkness. With resolve, he made his way home, his footsteps echoing through empty streets. Each step reminded him of their sacred calling. Love, compassion, service. These were not merely words, but the hallmarks of their purpose. In the distance, he could see a dim light in his modest abode. It pulled him closer, and he felt the warmth it promised wrap around him. As William entered, he was greeted by the comforting aroma of herbs simmering in a pot. His wife, Sarah, was tending to their simple meal. She looked up, her face brightening. "How was the gathering?" "Transformative," he replied, his eyes sparkling with fervor. "We have chosen to step out into the world to serve." But, he hesitated, there is a fear that lingers. What if our efforts are met with resistance? Sarah laid a gentle hand on his arm, a silent affirmation of shared faith. "Do you not remember how we began? Each challenge only deepened our resolve. The road may twist and turn, but isn't it our faith that guides us?" Her words flowed over him, filling the cracks of doubt with hope. They sat together, their meal a simple but nourishing feast, the silence between them rich with understanding. As they concluded their meal, the flickering candle cast shadows that danced against the walls, creating a sacred space of intimacy. Suddenly, a rapping at the door interrupted the calm. William's heart raced. Who could this be at this hour? He murmured, exchanging a concerned glance with Sarah. He opened the door to find a familiar face cloaked in uncertainty. It was Thomas, breathless and wide-eyed. "William! You must come quickly! There's been a sighting in the square." "A sighting?" William's pulse quickened. He stepped outside, the cool night air wrapping around him. "What do you mean?" A figure appeared. A luminescent being. It spoke of hope for the town, and how our efforts are blessed by heaven. People are gathering, they seek understanding. At that moment, a thought pierced William's heart, igniting a flame of excitement mixed with trepidation. What if this is not just a sign but a call? He pondered aloud. Then we must answer it, Sarah insisted, a glimmer of determination shining in her eyes. Without hesitation, the three of them made their way to the square. The streets, previously empty, were now alive with voices filled with wonder and awe. A small crowd had formed, gazing at the center where a brilliant light flickered. As William approached, he could hear whispers echoing around him, words of prophecy, hope, and divine purpose. "Is it him?" someone murmured with reverence. William squeezed Thomas's shoulder, a shared understanding passing between them. "We are called to not only witness but participate," he declared, stepping forward into the light that emanated like the sun breaking the dawn. In that sphere of radiance, he felt an overwhelming presence, a sense that they were not simply there as observers but as receivers of a profound message. As they gathered closer, the illumination swirled around him like a gentle breeze, filling him with peace and purpose. He realized this was not just about miracles, it was about their faithful journey, the culmination of their prayers. But a question loomed in his heart as his gaze lingered on the glowing figure. What divine truths lay ahead? They stood together, hearts aligned, ready to receive whatever revelation awaited them, unaware that the time for understanding and challenge was about to unfold in the most miraculous way. What did God have in store for them in this sacred moment? As William stepped closer to the radiant figure, a hush enveloped the crowd. Eyes widened, breaths held in anticipation. A soft, ethereal glow pulsated, illuminating faces caught between awe and reverence. The being wore what seemed like a garment woven from the very stars, and its voice resonated like a symphony, gentle yet powerful. "You who have gathered in faith," it spoke, each word a note plucked from the strings of celestial music. "Your hearts have cried out, your hands have reached out, and I am here to affirm that your efforts have not gone unnoticed." A murmur rippled through the villagers. Hope soared on the wings of the divine presence. William's heart raced, filled with a sense of belonging to something much larger than himself. "What must we do?" he asked, his voice barely a whisper yet carried by the wind as if made known to the heavens. "Engage with the light," the divine being replied, its gaze penetrating yet reassuring. "Share your dreams. Let them soar beyond the confines of doubt. Every act of love, however small, is recorded in the heavens. Know that even in the darkest paths, your faith shines brighter. I have witnessed your struggles and seen your hearts wrapped in prayer." Tears sparkled in Sarah's eyes. She squeezed William's hand, anchoring him amidst the overwhelming energy of the moment. It was as though the essence of their prayers had taken form and stood before them, inviting them into a deeper journey. "Tonight," the figure continued, "is the beginning of clarity for your souls. The manifestations of the divine are not merely gifts, but calls to action, a reminder that you are the light-bearers in this world. Each of you is called to ignite the flames of purpose within others." Thomas stepped forward, his voice trembling with urgency. "But how do we step out into the world? How can we spread this message? What if our words falter?" The luminescent being projected warmth like a kind sun. "Fear not, beloved. It is in your vulnerability that the truth speaks clearest. Allow your hearts to be your compass, allowing love and compassion to lead. Do not shy away from being the instruments of grace." "I have longed to be such an instrument," William confessed, his longing translating into words. "But how can I carry this light without being consumed by the weight of it?" "By sharing the burden, dear William," the figure replied. "Share it amongst yourselves, for in unity, every struggle becomes lighter. Seek and encourage one another. Your companionship and support are essential to the unfolding of the divine purpose." With every sentence, William felt layers of doubt peeling away like the shedding of winter's frost. He turned to those around him, to the faces that echoed his own hopes and fears. Suddenly, the weight did not feel so heavy. Their shared dreams intertwined like a tapestry, beautiful, strong, unbreakable. As the figure began to fade, shimmering softly like morning dew under the rising sun, it left them with words that hung in the air, luminous and powerful. "Embrace the journey, trust in the unseen, and let love be your guide. You are chosen vessels. Go forth and multiply the hope that lives in you." The crowd remained still, awash with inspiration, as the last traces of light disappeared into the night sky. William stood there, heart swelling with newfound courage, but questions lingered. Will we be able to act on this message? Will it be enough? He wondered, fear and excitement intertwining. Little did they know, the reality of their next steps was about to reveal itself in ways they could never imagine. How would they each respond to the call? What paths would be illuminated as they ventured into the dawn of their collective mission? The village of Maplewood basked in the early morning sun, each beam of light a reminder of the divine encounter that shaped their hearts and awakened their spirits. William stood at the forefront of the community, a gathering of believers who felt the weight of their calling as they embraced the day. The prophecy had stirred them to action. Now was the time to walk boldly into the world, igniting the light they had received. With renewed vigor, they set forth. "Let us feed the hungry," William exclaimed, his voice radiating passion. "Let us visit the sick and share the love we have found." The energy was palpable. Every heart in the crowd beat in unison, vibrating with purpose. As William moved through the village, he witnessed a transformation that took root. Neighbors who had once viewed each other with suspicion began to share kindness, offering meals, lending hands, and gathering in prayer. Laughter filled the air as they approached houses of those who were struggling, ready to lift the burden of loneliness and despair. Each act of service became a manifestation of their faith. Houses that had once echoed with silence now rang with joy. A family brought soup to a widow. Children carried wrapped gifts to the sick. The echoes of laughter from the youngest mingled harmoniously with the murmur of shared stories from the elders. But the trials were not far behind. Doubts surfaced like weeds among blossoms. Some villagers cast cautious looks, hesitant to fully embrace the change. What if our kindness goes unacknowledged? One whispered. What if our efforts yield no fruit? An unease began to unfurl across the community, casting shadows on their newfound light. Seeing this, William gathered the villagers again, standing where the beloved oak tree stretched its branches wide. The afternoon sun filtered through, creating a tapestry of light and shade. My dear friends, he called out with heart and conviction. Yes, doubt may come. Trials may test our resolve. But let us remember the promise we received. Even the smallest act of love reflects His grace. He shared stories of struggles, stories of those who faced mirrors of fear and doubt yet emerged with renewed strength. As he spoke, their hearts began to resonate with hope once more. The collective spirit was reinforced. They understood that faith did not mean the absence of fear but rather the courage to move forward despite it. Let faith be the force that drives us, William proclaimed passionately. Together, we can shatter the barriers we face. We are not just recipients of divine grace, we are vessels to spread it. Emails, letters, and messages of gratitude started pouring in from neighboring villages. Your kindness has touched lives beyond your own, a fellow leader wrote. Each word fueled their fire, reminding them of their purpose. Their small acts bore fruit, the ripples of love reaching into hearts they had yet to meet. Weeks passed, and as autumn began to adorn the village with colors of abundance, a festival was born out of love. They invited surrounding communities to celebrate not only the miracles but the bonds built through their steadfast faith. William felt his heart swell with pride and joy as he witnessed the transformation, the once skeptical villagers now standing united, hand in hand. The festival took place under the great oak, the symbol of their resilience. Candles flickered like stars overhead, illuminating joy, laughter, and prayers. William stood before a sea of faces aglow with light. Together they praised, thanking heaven for the abundance and grace they had been given. And then it happened. As they gathered for a moment of prayer, a gentle breeze stirred the leaves of the ancient tree, rustling whispers of encouragement flowed through the crowd. William closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of the Spirit merge with their hopeful energy. They had embraced their calling, walked hand in hand through trials, and emerged victorious. Suddenly, a voice resonated in the air, soft yet unmistakably commanding. Your faith has moved mountains, Maplewood. It was the same luminescent being they had encountered before, now blending with the light of their celebration. You have shown love where darkness sought to linger. Continue to shine brightly, for in your unity, there is power. Gasps of awe swept through the villagers as they turned to behold the radiant figure again. It radiated affirmation and peace, confirming their efforts and urging them onward. You have been heard. Now go forth and extend this light beyond your boundaries. Your love will birth new dreams and fresh hope in places still shrouded in darkness. The message lingered in the air, reverberating deep within them. This was not just an end, this was the beginning of their mission. As the crowd erupted into joyous applause, tears flowed freely. The weight of doubt that had once threatened to splinter them now served as a stepping stone, a testament to their resilience. William surveyed the faces of the gathered, realizing that every struggle and every moment of doubt had forged a bond stronger than any they had ever known. Love became their anthem, their guiding spirit. They understood that when they carried hope, they carried a reflection of the divine. Together, they stepped into a new chapter, ready to carry the flame of faith wherever God would lead them next. As they left the festival, laughter and shouts of praise echoed through the wind, marking their journey forward, a sacred calling ringing with clarity and purpose. Each step resounded with hope. They were the light in the world, the bearers of love, and they couldn't wait to share this manifestation. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and spread this message. Comment your reactions and testimonies about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation. This is the moment to show your support, step into the light, and encourage others to join this journey of faith. Don't wait even one more second to share. True servants of God understand the importance of acting, and you are called to rise.